now we have Elena Keydel in our studio. She's, well, we call them social workers. And you do have a new title now.
We do, yes. We're resident services coordinators now. Yep.
But we still call you social workers.
We're still social workers. Yep.
Well,
I always say the diploma on my wall says social worker, not resident service.
Where did you graduate from?
George Mason.
Oh, George. Oh, good.
Yep. Yeah.
So you've lived up here for a long time. Huh?
Yeah, been here for a while. Yeah. So it's home.
It's home. It's always been your home?
No, actually, I grew up in Connecticut and then Michigan, and then moved down here about 15 years ago now. So.
Okay. So 15 years is enough to make it.
It's enough to make it home.
We can call you Virginian now.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what are you going to tell us about today?
So I wanted to come talk to you about advanced directives and power of attorney forms and do not resuscitate orders.
Okay.
I know residents hear a lot about those three things, and there's a lot of confusion. It's a lot to keep track of what the difference is. So I wanted to just kind of go over the three different parts and help our residents understand, because they're all really important things in your, your planning and making sure things are in order so that your wishes are carried out. So let's start with power of attorney.
Okay.
So there's two types of power of attorney. There's the financial power of attorney and medical power of attorney. So financial power of attorney, you do have to go to a lawyer for this one. And it says that when you're no longer able to manage your finances or even just need some help, it designates who you want to help you with that. It can be a friend, it can be a family member, it can be a lawyer, a financial advisor. You really get to pick who that person is.
When should we get this?
You should have it as soon as possible. Really, anytime you have any kind of finances or anything, we want to have that in place. Because it's not, I can give you an example. In college, I studied abroad. I was in England for a year, and we actually drew up a financial power of attorney, and I gave my dad financial power of attorney for the year, because if anything came up that needed to be dealt with my finance accounts, I was in England. I wasn't, this is the days before easy online everything. He needed to be able to step in and take care of it. So this is something that
that's something most people don't think about.
Most people don't think about, and it's something that you can kind of, depending on the way it's written, and this is where the lawyer comes in. You can have it so that if you're in the hospital for a couple weeks, or you're in Garden Ridge recovering, and you really can't deal with the finances right now. But it's tax season. Uncle Sam doesn't wait because you're in Garden Ridge.
Oh, he doesn't?
No, unfortunately not. Or you at least have to give them a heads up first. But your financial power of attorney can step in and act on your behalf. So that's the financial power of attorney piece. And then we get into the medical side of things. So there's the medical power of attorney and an advance directive. And those are usually seen together. That's frequently one document. The advance directive, it talks about your wishes. Do you want to be on a respirator? Do you want to be on a feeding tube? Do you want to be hospitalized? Sort of what are your wishes, usually at end of life, is where that comes in. And then the medical power of attorney is who you want making those decisions when you are not able to. And that can be either you're in surgery and a decision needs to be made quickly, or it can be you're starting to lose capacity, you're starting to have some cognitive loss. Some of those harder decisions, more complex decisions are difficult. Who do you want making those decisions if you're not able to? We also say it's really important not just to have the documents and have it on paper, but to have those conversations. So, if I am my mom's medical power of attorney, she and I need to be talking about what she wants and what her wishes are and what good quality of life looks like for her. Because, we all know how complex medical situations can be, and you can't put on paper every possible medical situation.
So essentially, you have in the advance directive your wishes on certain things, but the medical power of attorney then goes beyond that and allows someone else to make decisions that are not in your advance directive.
Exactly. And so, the doctors and the physicians at the hospital, or whoever it may be, are really going to be looking to that medical power of attorney for decisions. And it can even be, it's time to move to Garden Ridge. It's time not to move to Garden, that kind of thing. So having a clear understanding of what your wishes are and making sure that your power of attorney knows that is very important.
Suppose I don't have a medical power of attorney, but I have, say, a daughter or son who, I'm put in the hospital and they come along, or will the doctors?
The doctors will talk to them, yeah. And in the state of Virginia, actually, the law states that if you do not have a medical power of attorney named, it's your spouse that the doctor's going to talk to, and then it's your children.
Okay.
And it is all of your children. So some of us have complex family situations, and maybe there's one member of the family that we really don't want making decisions for us.
But would they have to? Do they have to talk to all of the members, or can they talk to? If there's 4 children, can one make a decision?
Not if there's not a medical power of attorney. They're going to be talking to everybody, and that's where the medical power of attorney really comes in handy.
Okay.
And it also it lets if your daughter's your medical power of attorney, it lets her talk to your doctors. So it just the day-to-day thing.
So that's an important part of this medical.
Very important part. A very important part. Yeah. And the other aspect is the do not resuscitate order. And a lot of times people confuse the do not resuscitate order and the advance directives. So advance directives, like we've been talking about, are your wishes. They're broader. A do not resuscitate order is exactly what it sounds like. It says that if you pass away, if you stop breathing, if your heart stops beating, you do not want to be resuscitated. You do not want CPR done. So we usually see this in terms of green spraying in people's apartments. A lot of our residents go to sleep one night and don't wake up. That's how they pass away, which is a wonderful way to pass away when it's your time. We want to make sure, if that's your wish of how you want to pass away, that when the ambulance comes and EMS comes, they're not doing CPR on you. And that does happen. I mean, they will do CPR while they look for your do not resuscitate order.
Even though there's no signs of life.
Even though there's no signs of life. I've had 2 residents recently that's happened to. And so very important that if your wishes is to not have CPR done, when it's your time, when you've passed away, that order is in place. You get that through your doctor, so you'd want to talk to your doctor at either the medical center if you have an outside primary care, and it's usually a bright sheet of paper, a bright yellow sheet of paper, a bright green sheet of paper. We want it to be very visible, and we recommend either putting it on the back of your front door or on your refrigerator, because it needs to be very obvious, and it needs to be, that's one of the, the 2 places that security and EMS are going to look for it. So want to really make sure it's visible and right there, because then they won't do CPR.
Now, how do you get this do not resuscitate?
You want to talk to your doctor.
Okay.
And it's just a very simple form they're able to fill out with you, and they sign off on it saying what it basically says is you're able to make this decision, or if you're not able to make this decision, you had talked about it at a time when you still were, they've talked to family, or and then the doctor signs it and off you go.
So this is not something we get from a lawyer. If you
Nope.
have your will and you have your advance directive, that does not include.
That does not include a do not resuscitate order.
So we really need to talk to our doctors.
You need to talk to your doctor about it. Yeah, very important. Yeah.
Is this brought up by the medical department? Do they?
They do in some cases. As with most of our departments, the doctors here, are really busy and are working, one-on-one with the residents as best they can. But like all of us, the doctors are focused on the problem you've come in, and may not necessarily. If you've come in with a UTI, they're not necessarily going to be thinking, oh, does he have a DNR? So very important for you to bring it up as well, and make sure that that's in place.
I wonder how many of us have DNRs.
Well, and I think a lot of residents have DNRs, and they're just not in visible sight, which is a really key part of this. It's not enough to have a do not resuscitate order, a DNR, and have it in a notebook somewhere.
Okay.
A lot of times with advance directives and power of attorney forms, we say, have a notebook, have an estate planning notebook that your family knows where it is, so that way, if we need to find it, they can say, oh, it's on the, shelf in the bedroom, 3rd shelf down. Perfect.
Especially if your example of dying in your sleep, and they come in and try to bring you back to life.
Right, yeah. So very important that do not resuscitate order is very visible, right there, either on the fridge, or on the back of the front door. You know,
okay.
or some residents will put it over their bed. Some residents, you know, that's a little too morbid for them. Completely understandable.
Yeah.
You know, but really, really important that it's very, very, you know, plain and easy to see, and you know.
Yeah, my guess is that there's many of us in Green Spring who do not have it on the fridge or on the back of the door.
Yeah.
And mine is not there, but I do have one.
Right. Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously, you know, if and when it's ever needed, you're not going to be able to tell the EMS where it is.
No, you're not.
You know.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and it usually takes, you know, 15 or 20 minutes to get family on the phone for them to say, oh my goodness, yes, there is one. It's, you know, wherever it might be, you know, it's in the binder, it's on his desk, it's, you know, and, you know, for those 15 minutes, EMS is doing CPR,
Yeah.
so.
We have only a few more minutes now. Is there any other subject that you'd like to discuss?
Well, you know, the resident service coordinators are in the middle of doing our Brain Train program right now, which is a great memory fitness. It's one of our memory fitness offerings.
How do you train the brain then?
So, so this is a program. We've got 2 weeks of it left, and it's we work with the fitness center, so it's both working out your brain through brain puzzles and then working out your body through, you know, actually one of the fitness center partners comes and, you know, they do stretching and, you know, dance moves, and it's a lot of fun. So our next session will be Thursday, this coming Thursday, which I believe is the 27th, if I have my dates correct, at 1 o'clock in the Accotink room.
Oh, good.
Great time. It should be really fun. So we
So it's
encourage
Accotink.
residents to come to that. Yep, it's the next 2 Thursdays, 1 o'clock in the Accotink
So
room.
did you expect the same people to come for the 4 weeks, or you have different people each
We
week?
have different people. Yeah, that's a great question. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to pre-register or anything like that. So if you haven't come the last 2 times, not a problem at all. Please come. You know, no sign-ups. You don't have to sign up for the whole thing. If you can only come to one class, come to one class. You know,
It's all different.
Yep, the exercises are different. The puzzles are different. Yeah. So yep.
Now, puzzles, what kind of puzzles are we talking about?
It's a mix of word puzzles and visual puzzles, and you know, it's usually a mix of sort of long-term memory. So it may be, you know, we had one this past week where it was seeing if we could come up with a bird for every letter of the alphabet.
Oh.
You know, and then there's other ones that are, you know, sort of looking at words, and we had one that the vowels had been taken out of foods, and you know, you had to put the vowels back in to figure out what the foods were. We'll do some that are visual puzzles, so you know, there may be a picture and you have to figure out what phrase it's trying to say. You know, occasionally there's some math puzzles. Those are not as popular, but we try and do things that will challenge you but are still fun.
Well, it sounds like fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And you know, thank you for telling us about the advanced directive.
And I would say if you have questions or concerns, you're not sure what you have, what you need, come talk to your resident service coordinator. Come talk to Stephanie or Sue or I. You know, we want to make sure you have everything in place.
And especially that DNR. If we really need to pull it out and put it on the refrigerator.
Very important. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.